Good morning, everyone. Eagle X here, and today I'm going to be starting a brand new series. I'm going to call it the Pauper Power Deck series, and this is a series where we show you decks that you can get started with in the Digimon TCG for under $50 ships from TCG Player. So our first deck highlight is going to be Yellow WarGreymon, and here with me today I have a friend from the local ATX area, Isaias. If you want to say hello.
Hey, I'm Isaias, just like you said, from the local scene. Just a yellow player, so that's why I'm here, I suppose.
Yes, I love getting the community involved with this, and since he plays this deck a lot more, and this is what he plans on taking to nationals in one way or another, I figure it'd be fun to have him for conversation and talk about some matchups, decks, and some cards he's considered in the past. So we'll go ahead and get started with just showing the deck list for the budget version. So starting out, it's a budget WarGreymon. So some really cool notable things here is for the memory tamer, you have Mastemon. He's a cheaper memory tamer, and he actually procs from the Yellow WarGreymon when it attacks and restands. You can actually suspend the Marcus to gain a memory. And some key cards to pay attention to in this deck is going to be getting your security down to 3, which helps proc the BT3 Angewomon rare, which lets you summon rookies, including Bushi, Lotmon, Starmons. Starmons and Bushi are probably more of your targets you want because Bushi is a finisher, Starmons helps with removal. And then Wizardmon helps you with some memory manipulation. So when you go into a Dynasmon, it would cost 3 to Digivolve. Kari can help assist if you don't have a Wizardmon in that stack, so you can still evo for 3 to that level 6 spot. So Isaias, when we were talking about this deck profile to start out with, you mentioned a few things. First of all, is there anything that stands out to you that I might have missed for a quick overview recap of the deck?
Well, there's not really anything that you missed. It's just, we'll get into it. But you covered the gist of things. Like the main points, the strong points of the deck are the Angewomon, of course, the WarGreymon. That's like your main bread and butter combo with the level 3s. And then you got your Kari to get you some memory. Marcus, you get the memory. So I think you covered everything pretty well. But there's not really anything missing though. I would say as far as budget goes, this is pretty standard for a budget deck. It's not only still decently competitive, but it's also really budget friendly, really entry level friendly, I would say, because there isn't too many hard mechanics with this deck. Like as you can see, there's not too many inherited effects or crazy effects going. So aside from the whole WarGreymon combo, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Now, so going a little bit more in depth on some of the cards we run. The rookies in general, it's because they have good on plays, they have good mainline text. Some rookies we could swap in though, and we kind of cover it on the next slide here, but we can talk about it anyways here. One rookie that you could run in is the EX1 Patamon, because it actually does search almost all your 5s, and actually I think it does search all your 5s.
Yeah.
Here.
Maybe not the Sirenon.
Oh, does it actually search Siren too?
I don't think it searches Sirenon, but all the Angewomons it will.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pulsemon would be the other card that you could swap in to kind of upgrade this deck. The card I really do want to emphasize here, though, is you do turbo with the level 4s. That Wizardmon will actually help with your memory manipulation for when you go into the 6s. Like we kind of mentioned earlier, it works with WarGreymon, it works with Dynasmon. And then I was talking to you, Isaias, about this earlier, but you put emphasis on some of these level 5s here. And more in particular, some of the Angewomon package. What is it that you would really say is a highlight of the Angewomon package and why you choose to run certain ones?
Okay, so for starters, the main one for my BT3, it's just -2 security, which is really good against the current meta right now. It's really good against Jesmon. It could be good against Gabumon whenever they have that only one Gabumon out and you're scared of a warp. You can just -2 security, and then it's kind of just sitting there. And that goes for just any Digimon though. So that's really good by itself. And then the inherited is just what's really good with the whole WarGreymon, or just any level 6. But WarGreymon, it's not once per turn. So whenever he restands, you get to activate that effect twice, the inherited. And the starter Angewomon, the WarGreymon needs targets and security for it to work. And with a lot of the faster decks in this meta right now, like Gabu Bond, they tend to just swing at your security pretty aggressively. So there's some times where you have no security left, and if you have this Angelmon, you get to recover one, and then you can start your WarGreymon plays or your Kari plays, because Kari also needs targets. Wizardmon also needs targets in your stack, so all those need some kind of target to be hit from security. So Angelmon, along with the Salamon in this deck, having that recovery just helps. And then the new Angelmon from EX1, she's really good. I'd say she's your best level 5 to open with, just because you get to be aggressive, you get to clear your opponent's board, because you typically have more than 3 security, like by the time you get around to your level 5, and she lets you minus something on board, and when you swing into stack, all their security gets minus 3,000. So it's semi-safe, I would say, for like her to actually swing into security. And then on top of that, she has her Inherited, which pairs really well with Dynasmon. It's when you add any card to your security, you can also minus 2,000 to something. So you could potentially have like a minus 5,000 with just her on the same turn.
That's actually really cool. I wasn't even thinking about that, and it's something that you mentioned, and I was like, oh, that's actually a pretty good card to put on this list, and it's pretty reasonable. I think you actually run it in like your more optimal list of this deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then just kind of touching up a little bit more on our level 6s, Sakuyamon's a really good tech against all the OTK-oriented decks. If you play against a Pepsi Bond, if you play against just a typical Gabu Bond, the Gabu Bond's Gabumon, Jesmon, Sakuya kind of negates their OTK strategy. Same with Green OTK if that comes up. So Sakuya is just that really good level 6 tech that can be thrown into any deck that has capabilities going to level 6s in yellow, that is. Yeah, so that's the overview of this deck list. I don't think we missed anything here. If we did, we can always talk about when we look at the next few slides, talk about like more optimal lists and some more matchup spreads a bit more. But in general, like, this was the cart I had when I was checking out on TCG Player, just looking at how much this deck costs. It's a $38 deck. Add taxes, it's going to be like $42. And it's pretty darn cheap for your first deck to get into Digimon. But these were some slight upgrades you can make to that existing deck without changing a whole lot of the deck profile. You can add in Mastemons, you can add in Pulsemons, and you can add in TKs. TK, because he's a yellow tamer, kind of synergizes more with the deck, with recovering from the second part of his text, and it could trigger a Dynasmon, so you could recover 2 off of TK recover if the security is at the correct amount. Pulsemon's just kind of a better Lopmon in general. It's not a 100% replacement, but it is pretty much the more optimal version of it. And then instead of using Sakuyas and WarGreymons, you can emphasize more Mastemons, which would cause you to change up your deck a little bit more. We can actually just go ahead and show the deck profile here, though. So if you really enjoy the playstyle of this budget deck or the idea of the budget deck, this is probably more of what you would lean towards building for like your final deck product. So now that we have it more as this Mastemon deck rather than pure WarGreymon with Dynasmon, what would you say are the biggest changes between the budget deck and this version of the deck then?
Okay, so one, obviously Mastemon, you know, she's like she basically like becomes the main emphasis of what you're trying to do. She has so many ways she can like damage your opponent basically. Because one, as soon as you evolve her, you do hurt yourself, but you being yellow, you have plenty of ways to recover. Plus, you have Kari in the deck. You have Wizardmon in the deck. So whenever you do burn yourself, you're plussing something off of it, while also burning one from your opponent, which is just huge. Like, I think it's just one of the best things in the game, because you trash the security. It's different from like checking it. You actually just remove it basically. It's like if it's like an option card, like a Gaia Force, or like it has Ward Defeat, it wouldn't trigger because it gets trashed. It doesn't actually get checked. So just Mastemon being a big emphasis on this deck is why I like this deck. It's why I play it. And then she's able to do things like play Bushis from trash, or if you're just looking to play a little safe, you have Piddlemons you can summon. And Mimicmon is what my favorite target is, because if you're at less than 3 security, after you play Mimicmon, you're able to gain 2 memory. And then if you have a Wizardmon in your stack, if you have a couple Karis out, the plays are just crazy. And you're able to get this sort of loop going to where if you had like another 4 or 5 on the field, or even straight from a Mimicmon, I've done it before to where I've summoned 2 Mastemon and still kept my turn and just burned 2 from my opponent, went for a Bushi for game. And it's sort of this like unexpected thing that no one really expects, because like everybody knows what Mastemon does who plays, but no one expects this big loop to happen. And again, with the Angelmons in this deck, it's just really good with the Mastemon, because like I said, you need that card to trigger so you can get your loop going. So it's like how I was saying with the WarGreymon last time. In this, it's mainly for Mastemon. And I do play WarGreymon on this list as well, because he lets you Digiburst, which is just great because you get to minus 4,000 or something. It helps with trying to control your opponent's board so you don't just, lose. But one, he's at 8 play cost, which I did forget to mention the last part. That's really good because Black and 3 Musketeers play this Jawalt Schwarmer. Yeah. And that's only 7 play cost or less. So these 2 level 5s here just really help in the matchup. And WarGreymon lets you put 2 things in the trash.
And that could be like your level 3 and level 4 that you want to summon with the Mastemon. Yeah, so it doesn't feel as bad to Digivolve with those rookies per se.
Yeah. And then, speaking of put things in the trash, win rate 60%. I just thought about it here recently, but I've always had issues where like I've drawn just all my Mimicmons at hand, and I'm like, man, like there's no way to put these in my trash. So this card, you're able to trash 1 card, which is, it's going to be yellow because all your stuff is yellow here, and you're basically able to trash whatever you want. But ideally, it's going to be like whatever you need to like summon with your Mastemon. So you do that, pay 2, it makes your Mastemon free. So like it just helps the loop even more, and then you also get to basically choose what you're going to summon.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really love the emphasis with win rate 60%, because you could get those level 6s for basically 2 memory. And then if you have a Mimic for a Maste, it's free. And then if you have a Wizard, you plus a memory.
Yeah.
Not even counting Karis, or I think that's your main other memory proc. But yeah, like, it's just really cool how you can loop all this memory like you're saying, and then summon the big things. You have Trash Recursion in this deck, which is something Purple specializes in, and we're kind of splashing that into Yellow.
Yep.
Well, I guess real quickly then, we kind of talk about some matchups. What do you think is the best and worst matchup for this deck?
So, my worst matchup 100% before EX1 has been 3 Musketeers. But I think with these new cards, with the new Angelmon, with win rate, it just helps the matchup so much that might become a thing of the past now. Because before, like, with the old Angelmons, it would be terrifying to promote them. Because, like, you'd be like, man, like these can get killed. But, like, sometimes you have to. And now that you have these 8 costs, they can still destroy it, but they have to do it a different way. And it could sometimes be harder because Mastemon also likes to have like a wider field, and usually Jawart Schwarmer was like their best way to do it with the big field. And now you can be safe with these new cards. And
now it's basically liable to pop something.
Yeah. And as far as best matchups go, weirdly, Gabuban has been my best matchup. Like, I think just Kari really hurts it. Like, Kari just literally by itself, because usually they'll have like the whole Davis to go to 3 and then Matt, so like they might go to 4. And then if you have a couple Karis out, like 2 or 3, once they evolve for 3, they pretty much have to swing to get their effects off. So, like, your Karis then trigger, and there's almost no way to get rid of Tamers in this game except for like Zwart Defeat. So Gabuban have no way to get rid of these Karis. Once they're there, like they're there to stay. So it just really hurts them a lot.
It's like a more pseudo permanent ice wall per se.
And that too, like
ice wall is crazy for the matchup.
Yeah, like it really stalls me out of turn in the matchup, but I think I kind of benefit from that because, like I said, like the only way they really remove my board is with the Gabuban, and if I have the Karis, then they can only remove one thing. So like, yeah, they get ice wall, maybe 2 ice walls, and I can't swing that turn, but I could still build my board or get like the Mastemon loop ready. So that matchup's probably the best for this, which is why I like it and why I think it can perform well. Jesmon's pretty much a coin flip, but I feel like it is with any deck you play because like if they have the combo, then they kind of just have it, you know?
Yeah. Well, Isaias, I really love the insight, love the help with this video. And for anyone watching this video, if you enjoy this type of content, please give a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you want to see more deck list profiles like this. If there's something you want to see emphasized for a deck profile, if you want to see a color, if you want to see a boss monster, leave it below. I'll do my best to come up with something and talk to some locals here and emphasize more community deck building. It's something I absolutely love. With that being said, take care, y'all.